Okay, people. Yeah, we're back in here for the second time this week. But we owed you one from last week, so we gave it to you. Shout out to everybody that's a Patreon. We're always super appreciative for everybody that's given, that engages with us on this level. Say again.
I said yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, this week we're gonna be watching last week, or earlier this week we watched Zidane. So it was only fitting that we continued the theme with Ronaldinho. So have hope just press the button because I know you're chewing food right now. So
No, I'm about to chew. So
this is different than the last one.
is it?
Might be. No, it isn't. Or maybe they use some of the same clips. Um,
On July the 15th, 2008, Ronaldinho sealed a €21 million move from Barcelona to AC Milan. Another big money transfer for the former World Player of the Year, but this time the Brazilian was at a crossroads in his career.
After so much time playing in Spain, I decided I needed a change. I settled upon Milan because the club has one of the best setups in the world. Some really great players, and they're one of the best teams in the world too.
His game's changed, but Ronaldinho's still young. He needs to be loved again. The fans abandoned him.
Football.
Well, seeing the best of Ronaldinho. He certainly won everything there is to win for club and country, but the old inspiration isn't there. Does the once brilliant Brazilian have the desire to prove himself once again?
I want to believe that he does. I'm praying he does, because he's a spectacular player. I love watching Ronaldinho play. But my big fear is he's become much more of a showman than a footballer.
Ronaldinho, after all, inspired Barcelona to back-to-back Primera Ligas and a Champions League title. It was all done with his familiar, intoxicating inspiration.
I think he did so much at Barcelona that people always expect more and more. Sometimes that's just not possible. You can only do so much. You're only human.
Ronaldinho, perhaps the most gifted player of his generation.
What is Ronaldinho's generation? Pause it. Can we have a quick discussion here? Who are the players of his generation?
Kaka,
Okay.
Shevchenko. You can say so. He was after Del Piero, after Totti. Even if you didn't really say much, Adriano. You can probably say Cannavaro. You can actually say Buffon. Just like Buffon has been around for so long, but you can actually say Buffon. But Buffon is a cheat because he's done through several generations. So
goalkeepers don't count. They're on a different type of math. But I'm just thinking, like, okay, he's not in the Ronaldo, Messi era because he's before them.
Yeah.
But then he's not in like the, I don't know. Well, I guess
no. Basically, as I said, he's in the Kaka era. He's in the Shevchenko era. You could maybe argue he's around the Drogba era, but he came before Drogba. You could argue remember, Dini started very young. Drogba started late. So, but definitely Kaka.
Pirlo.
Pirlo was actually before him, but you could argue Pirlo, but Pirlo was slightly before him. But you could still argue that. You could argue Pirlo because Pirlo was at Empoli like late 90s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you could still say it's like, the generation thing is tough, but I would just say it is. It's who else is at their peak. That is where your generation is. So guys who are either before their peak or after their peak, you're not in their generation. So you can't put him with Messi because Messi was way before his peak. Cristiano was way before his peak. But when Dini was at his peak, Shevchenko was at his peak, Cannavaro was at his peak.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue John Terry was at his peak, Rio was at his peak. So
like 2004 through 2007.
yeah.
By the way, your mic is like very airy. I don't know. It's like reverb almost, I guess.
Hold on. Let me try and sort this out.
Yeah, I was just thinking like the greatest player of his generation. What is Ronaldinho's generation really? So Kaká is his main competition. Ugh. That's a bad generation.
No. The generation things are it's always hard to tell.
Is Eto'o in his generation or is he after? I think Eto'o's after.
Eto'o's after his generation.
Yeah. They overlap a bit.
Because Eto'o's peak wasn't
2008 to 2010.
All right, that's right.
Although Ronaldinho should have overlapped, he just didn't.
Yeah, no. Basically, remember, Dino's peak was very, very short.
Yeah.
So that's also is the issue. So
in 2004 and 2006, Ronaldinho redefined football. He combined vision, touch, and imagination, inspiring Barcelona to title after title.
He's dirty.
Watch him, and he was one of the guys.
Where is this guy?
Wait. Hold on. Let me listen to this.
Where is Rijkaard, man? What is he doing? I need an independent Google search on my phone right quick. Where is Frank?
The public came to the stadium. It looked like he was always happy and content on the pitch.
Yeah, I think that's true.
The only thing
Rijkaard just seems to have disappeared for some
Yeah,
reason.
he dropped off the map, man.
I know he was at Saudi Arabia at one point.
So he went from Barcelona to Galatasaray, and the last time he managed was 2013.
He was
Saudi
able to
Arabia.
have big wins.
Yeah.
Between 2004 and 2006, Ronaldinho redefined football. He combined vision, touch, and invention with steely determination, inspiring Barcelona to title after title.
It was a joy to watch him, and he was one of the guys that made the public came to the stadium. It looked like he was always happy and content on the pitch, and the only thing he wanted to do was play his game.
He officially retired from management in 2016.
No one has played as beautifully as Ronaldinho in the past 10 years.
That's a shame.
He was able to achieve those big wins, leading Barcelona to the Spanish title, helping them win the Champions League. He was able to give them that most important element, but at the same time, he'd always do it with a smile on his face.
Why is that a yellow card, man? I don't get it.
Here in Brazil's southernmost city of Porto Alegre is where Ronaldinho's story begins. Born in the relatively poor suburb of Vila Nova in March 1980, Ronaldo de Assis Moreira seemed destined to become a footballer.
Ever since I was a little boy, I've loved playing football. It's a gift that God gave me, and I'm just happy to make a living out of it.
A talent for football ran in the family. His brother Assis starred for the local club Grêmio in the early 90s until his career was cut short by injury. Assis was an important role model to his younger brother.
Everyone knew about Assis at Grêmio, and he played for Brazil at every youth age group. So everyone knew about him. Just imagine what it was like for Ronaldinho at home, watching his brother do all this. So I think the greatest inspiration was his brother, Assis.
Ronaldinho was quick to follow in his older brother's footsteps, playing futsal at Grêmio from the age of 7. Even as a youngster, he showed a precocious talent and soon established himself at the club he supported.
For so many years, Grêmio was the beginning of everything. I owe the club a lot. From the age of 7 to the age of 21, it was a great start in football.
Were you a fan?
I still am today.
What he does today, he was doing back then at the age of 12 or 13. Everyone at Grêmio and in the south of Brazil knew that Ronaldinho was going to be a great, great player. As well as his brother, the young Ronaldinho had another hero, Rivellino, one of Brazil's stars of the 70s.
This guy was bloody good, man.
I'd always watch loads of videos of him, and I'd imagine myself being Rivellino. And then I wanted to be left-footed too, like Rivellino, and then Maradona. And my brother as well. Practically all my heroes were left-footed. Rivellino was, and still is, one of my biggest football heroes.
For all the tricks and flicks he learned from watching his heroes, Ronaldinho was no stranger to hard work.
If he could play after training had finished, then he would. We'd leave and go to Restinga, where I lived, and then play football again. His life has always been about football. Having won the Under-17 World Cup with Brazil in 1997, Ronaldinho returned to Grêmio ready for first-team action. The teenager was an instant hit with the fans. Despite his skinny frame, he adapted to the tough regional championship well and impressed the supporters with his eye for goal and an extraordinary touch.
Pull it back. Pull it back. Pull it back. What the hell? These are professional footballers.
The regional championship is the most similar to European football.
What happened? Where'd it go?
And it's more aggressive.
Keep going back, man. Keep going back.
That thing.
From watching his heroes, Ronaldinho was no stranger to hard work.
Football heroes.
It's been about football.
The teenager was an instant hit with the fans. Despite his skinny frame, he adapted to the tough regional championship well and impressed the supporters with his eye for goal.
It's the chip though, with the left foot.
That's stupid.
The South Brazilian Regional Championship is the most similar to European football. A lot less fouls are given and it's more aggressive than other championships. And I think that made a big difference to Ronaldinho's career.
Like many great players, Ronaldinho produced his best performances in the biggest games. Grêmio's bitter rivals were Internacional, and Ronaldinho always excelled against them, so much so that the nation took notice.
He first caught the eye in the Grêmio Internacional derby in a regional final when he famously dribbled past Dunga. Even to this day,
oh, what?
Forgiven him. In a regional final when he famously dribbled past Dunga. And it's
Jesus.
Oh my God.
in a regional final when he famously dribbled past Dunga.
That's why Dunga hates him.
Oh, Dunga hasn't.
Yo, that's why he didn't take.
Yes.
Who is this kid?
Oh my God.
Kid to
We
do
saw
that.
he did it again.
Captain.
He hates him. There's
That's
no
why he hates him.
there's no way you can respect him because that's disgusting.
The national squad, and to help him settle in, Ronaldinho was to share a room with
He killed his country because he killed his life. He took his pride.
A little shy or afraid of speaking to anyone. And I think I helped him feel at home.
You know, I used to wonder why.
Brazil, and I played
Like
for
2010, he was still good.
He took to international football
That's right.
easily
Oh,
enough,
Lord.
and he looked every inch a Brazil player when he scored in 1999 against Venezuela in the Copa America.
Yeah, I remember the score. Yeah. I remember me and my brothers watched this live. Because we're like, who is this dude? Who's this kid?
There was that moment against Venezuela when he came on as a substitute and scored that now famous goal. The opposition was poor, but the goal itself was spectacular.
Suddenly, the kid from Villanova was a star, but perhaps he'd outgrown his southern Brazilian origins. When Paris Saint-Germain expressed an interest, Ronaldinho had to go.
Can we pause it?
Ronaldinho is the greatest player.
Your narrative that Okocha taught him everything is quickly fading.
No, it's not, because you only saw him. Okocha took his football to the next level.
Come out of Rio
And
Grande do Sul.
I know this clown documentary once.
And one of the
expressed
greatest
that,
in
so.
Brazil.
I
However,
mean, he already looks pretty good, man.
The fans turned on their hero, though, when they learned he'd signed for PSG on a free transfer, taking advantage of the Bosman law. The love affair between Ronaldinho and his hometown club was over.
That was more of a fans thing. He was labelled a mercenary because Grêmio did not receive a transfer fee. Because in Brazil we don't have a Bosman law, and in Europe they do.
That's fucked up.
Ronaldinho didn't hurt anyone. He didn't rob anyone. He didn't take money from anyone. He did everything within the laws of the game. These days it happens all the time and no one gets upset about it.
After a few months in exile at Grêmio, Ronaldinho settled in the French capital surprisingly easily. He was still far from the complete player, but he showed flashes of genius that promised much for the future. Still, though, there was work to be done.
He needed to work to progress.
Oh, this guy
In
again.
the first year, he understood this. And in his own mind, he really tried. He had that genius. He had an incisive gift on the field.
Wait, they were founded in 1970?
Yes.
Oh, wow, these guys are young.
Both of my parents are older than PSG.
And in his own mind, he had that genius. He had an incisive gift on the
It's
field.
50. It's only 50.
And we, the coaching staff and the fans, were helping him to
So who's
become
the
even
club for
better.
PSG then before PSG?
It was a great learning process there. It was my first club outside Brazil, and so I learned an entirely new culture and a new type of football. It was a really important stage in my life.
Once again, Ronaldinho came alive in the big games, but he struggled for consistency.
Generally, he was good in the important matches against the likes of Marseille, but he knew how to choose his moments. In the big ones, he was very good, but in the others, which were less important, he just wasn't as interested.
Aiden Nelson.
As the four times world champions travelled to the 2002 World Cup in Japan and Korea, the pressure wasn't as intense as it might have been.
I think we left the country with little faith in us, especially from the point of view of the press and also the fans.
I thought he had it in AirPods for a second. I was like, how did he get that in 2004? Like,
And we're able to prove people wrong.
Without the pressure of being tournament favourites, Brazil were able to express themselves. Ronaldinho played alongside Ronaldo and Rivaldo in an attacking trio, and the youngster blossomed in such celebrated company.
I think he's a horseman, Double H.
We had players like Rivaldo, Ronaldo, and Cafu, and obviously other great players. And I think that helped Ronaldinho because although it didn't take all the responsibility off his shoulders, he could at least share it with the others. And so I think he played with more freedom.
It was the quarter-final against England when Ronaldinho truly left his mark on the competition. Michael Owen opened the scoring for England before a brilliant run from Ronaldinho led to Rivaldo's equaliser on the stroke of half-time. Then 5 minutes into the second half, a stroke of genius from the 22-year-old.
I still don't think he meant this.
Of course he meant it.
I think he meant to put it in an area. I don't think he meant to score.
Look at the trajectory of the ball.
I think he was crossing it to the far post. There's no way he meant to shoot it.
Do you know who you're talking about?
I know.
This isn't some guy this is a Brazilian.
All of us argued about it for ages.
Okay, of course
we
he
were
meant
saying.
Wait, rewind it. Because he's obviously saying if he meant it.
I'm telling you, he meant it. All of us argued about it for ages. We were saying, no, it must have been a cross. But before he took that free kick, he turned around. And I think he said to Belletti, keep your eye on the goalkeeper. He'll come off his line. He definitely was shooting. He couldn't have hit it so perfectly if he hadn't been.
It was a delicate moment, and that's when Ronaldinho's star shone for us.
It was a cross shot.
These guys are geniuses, capable of something special, and we're born to play football. And they had these fortunate moments too.
That's stupid.
I was fortunate enough to score that fantastic goal and help Brazil win the World Cup.
Despite later getting sent off for a foul, Ronaldinho's goal had restored belief to a shaky Brazilian side.
Admittedly, he was stupid getting sent off against England, but then he did score that ridiculous goal. And that was in a game where the whole country thought we'd lose.
This guy's just a hater, man.
Because we thought England were better than Brazil.
Brazil never looked back. They overcame Turkey in the semi-finals, which meant they were to face Germany in the final. 2 goals from Ronaldo gave the Brazilians a 2-0 win and a record 5th World Cup. Ronaldinho was voted the tournament's best midfield player. The youngster from Porto Alegre had come a long way.
Becoming a World Cup winner was a dream come true. As soon as I started playing football, I'd imagine myself in a Grêmio shirt and then in a Brazil one. And then I'd picture myself winning the World Cup with Brazil. So it really was a dream come true.
Back at Paris Saint-Germain, however, things weren't going quite so well. His inconsistent form was still an issue, and manager Luis Fernandes complained that the Brazilian was more interested in the Parisian nightlife than turning out for Paris Saint-Germain. Had that World Cup win gone to Ronaldinho's head?
When he came back to us for the second year, it wasn't the same. In his mind, he was a world champion. His family were not here. They'd gone back to Brazil and he was alone. So it was difficult for me, for the club and his teammates. Because it was the same Ronaldinho, but it was a different player.
What kind of translation are these, bro? That is not what he's saying, bro.
To move on, Europe's top clubs queued up for Ronaldinho's signature in 2003, and eventually he decided that his future lay in Spain with Barcelona. Ronaldinho was to be the star who would revitalize the Catalan giants.
No mention of your boy, by the way.
That few people believed in the Barcelona, and he goes to people. Came at a moment.
And eventually he decided that his future lay in Spain with Barcelona. Ronaldinho was to be the star who would revitalize the Catalan giants.
He came at a moment that few people believed in the possibilities of Barcelona, and he gave the people the way to hope and believe in a new team to win important things.
His impact was immediate.
I think it was a case of either, here, I show what I can do and gain the respect of the whole world, or just stay and be a millionaire. Like another Denilson, someone good at the circus, a trickster, but not a footballer.
The tricks were no longer...
I don't like that guy.
Ronaldinho was becoming a decisive player, scoring crucial goals at crucial moments.
He seems like Brazilian Graham Souness.
I would say he's one of the few players I saw. my life that.
And he speaks English.
Like,
You trying to tell me this guy's not as good as Arteta?
way.
Under the management of Dutch legend Frank Rijkaard, Barcelona became unstoppable. And in Ronaldinho, they had the symbol of Rijkaard's attacking football philosophy. In just his second season, he helped Barca to their first league title in 6 years.
Hey, yo, when Lampard gets sacked, I want Rijkaard, man.
It was the culmination of all my hard work. I managed to win virtually everything there is to win in football there. It's a period in my life that I'll never forget.
What he combined was pace and technically very, very skillful. He was able to control the ball and at the same time leave 1 or 2 or 3 opponents behind. And
he said 1 or 2 or 3.
It's difficult talking about myself, but I like to dribble with the ball to create chances. I always think of myself as a very creative player.
Yeah, that's the skill. That's the skill.
I don't have to talk about the things he can do with the ball. He's got incredible vision. He picks out his pass before the ball has even reached him. One of the very few players who can
The
do
one
that.
where the one where he controls the ball with his back or like his back sides. That is ridiculous.
Great play.
And if there was one match that encapsulated the genius of Ronaldinho, it came
Classical.
to Real Madrid in November 2005, when he destroyed Barcelona's bitter rivals.
They clapped him.
A month later, naturally, it was Ronaldinho who won Europe's most prestigious individual award.
It was a unanimous Ballon d'Or. And he could well have won another one, but I just don't think he had the discipline.
World Player of the Year in 2004 and 5, he then helped Barcelona to a second successive title in 2006. It seemed Ronaldinho had the Midas touch.
All the titles were great. The Primera Liga, the Cup, everything I won with Barcelona was significant to me.
There was one trophy that Ronaldinho and Barcelona still craved, the Champions League. 2005-06 was to change all that, as the Brazilian inspired his team to play some of the best football Europe has ever seen.
I think that was a great period in football. He revolutionised the game. Because since then, more and more technical players have been emerging. And we have so many great players today, dribbling and playing in an artistic way.
Barcelona faced Arsenal in the 2006 Champions League final. Despite going a goal down early on, they came back to win 2-1 and seal a memorable year with a memorable triumph. Ronaldinho, in particular, was the hero of Catalonia.
He was treated like a king in Barcelona for 2 years. And that's everything an artist could wish for.
Hey, rest in peace.
It's like getting on stage and the whole audience is focused on you, singing your songs without even opening your mouth. Every song. That's the best feeling.
But Ronaldinho struggled to replicate his club form for his country. The 2006 World Cup should have been Ronaldinho's chance to shine. But while he was the undisputed king at Barcelona, with Brazil, he had to settle for a supporting role amongst a lineup of stars.
It's different playing in the national team. You have to share the attention with the other players, as it's all the stars playing together. It's much easier being the only star, but when you get together with all the others, you have to have more than just football. And I think that Ronaldinho's attraction is limited just to the football pitch.
Ronaldinho wasn't born to be the main player in a team. He was born to be an extraordinary teammate. When people wanted to make him the star man,
Brazil began with 4 wins, but their performances were unconvincing. And Ronaldinho looked a shadow of the player who'd been terrorizing European defenses all season.
Maybe he was fucking tired, bruh.
what happened in the 2006 World Cup? He should have been the star player. But he looked almost afraid to be playing alongside Ronaldo and Kaká. He wanted to be one of the others. People expected him to lead that team, and he didn't. I don't think he ever will.
A 1-0 defeat to France in the quarter-finals ended Brazil's hopes of justifying their
They
status.
lost by 1 goal
Their
to
performance
the
was
greatest performance of all time by a central midfielder in a World Cup.
Ronaldinho was singled out.
That's football. When you win, you get compliments. When you lose, you get criticised.
Back at Barcelona, Ronaldinho, the superstar footballer, suddenly appeared far less invincible, more human. Not for the first time in his career, his levels of desire and motivation were called into question.
He was great in the first year, the second too. But in the third and fourth years, it was the same story as in Paris. Rijkaard couldn't get him to play. Frank Rijkaard had the same problem as I had in Paris with Ronaldinho. You can't always say it's my fault or Rijkaard's fault.
Overall, I didn't have too many problems with Ronaldinho because he was a great guy, worked really well, and had a good relationship with his teammates. Only the last seasons, it was getting downwards, and he performed less.
Ronaldinho was still a hugely marketable figure, but perhaps he'd begun to embrace that celebrity culture a little too much, and many feared that his lifestyle was not helping his football.
Pause it. In 2006-2007, the season after, he played 49 games. He scored 24 goals. The season he won in 2006, he played 45 games and scored 26 goals. Now, I'm not saying stats tell the whole story, but he scored more goals in La Liga the season after the World Cup than the season before. 4 more goals, in fact. So they're trying to make it seem like, oh, he fell off a cliff.
Let's finish and then we can discuss.
Okay.
This is what I'm talking about when I say he's become like a pop star or a marketing tool.
Fucking haters, bro.
He's thinking more about the adverts he does, thinking, I need to do what I do in the adverts on the pitch. It's confusing. You end up confusing the two roles.
What did he just do?
With a new generation coming through,
The adverts on the pitch. It's confusing. You end up confusing the two roles.
What?
With a new generation coming through at Barcelona, Ronaldinho found himself increasingly isolated and sometimes even on the sidelines. He needed a fresh challenge to revive his career.
The only thing that surprised me once in a while is when he didn't have quite his day, his level could drop enormously. And if you think about that, you can say immediately that he is really a very sensitive guy. I think that's important for some guys that they feel that they are loved and liked and appreciated.
The sort of adulation he received doesn't last for very long. Ronaldinho had it for about 2 years. Now he's in that needy phase. He lost the love, so he lost everything.
That's the passion that he's trying to evoke once more at Milan. It's been a promising start to his career in Italy, and who knows, Ronaldinho may be able to reach the top once again.
We're already seeing the Ronaldinho that we're used to seeing. The Ronaldinho who does his dribbles or impossible tricks. And I do believe he'll get back to that level.
His performances with Milan led to a recall to the Brazilian side too. Now a veteran of the national side, it's hoped his enthusiasm for the game can rub off on Brazil's latest generation of talented players.
I think there are a few players out there who love playing football quite like he does. He enjoys it more than anyone. He wants to play again and again. The guy just loves football.
It's this passion for the game combined with his extraordinary ability that makes every fan the world over hope to see him recapture that form of his Barcelona days. Ronaldinho, a troubled genius perhaps, but still the greatest Brazilian player of his generation.
The did it say Young Thug defends Drake with Joe Budden?
Wait, what?
One of the video suggestions it said like something about Young Thug and Drake. Joe Budden's face was funny. I think documentaries like that should be made when the player's career is finished.
Yeah, it should. It should.
So, if
like
documentary now,
you're doing like a review of a player who is still currently playing. That makes more sense.
If they made that documentary now, it would be far more congratulatory, I think. Especially because it would be people like us that were probably in charge of making it, that grew up watching him to an extent. You probably more so than me, but
why do you think it would be far more congratulatory now?
Because the people that grew up watching him have a love for him that the people who kind of were given that the people who, I don't know, they weren't of his era, basically. Like they're not a hero to him. Their heroes are Maradona, Pele, Cruyff, those kinds of guys. Our heroes, the guy who I was out in the front yard pretending I was Ronaldinho. Those guys were pretending to be other guys who are their heroes. So if I'm making the Ronaldo documentary, it's going to be far more about the skills and tricks and his history. It's not going to be about, the last year of his career at Barcelona.
If he was still playing though, and it was made by these same people, how would it be different?
Say again.
If he was still playing, sorry. If let's say he had finished his career, and the documentary was made by the same people, how would it be different?
I don't know. I'm saying no. I'm saying
it would be the same. That's my argument. It still would be the same.
I don't think so. I think time heals. Like the saltiness that guy had was probably because this was done in 2008 or 2009, and they had just lost in 2006. So he was probably salty. Like, yo, you're supposed to be better, but you weren't. You give him the perspective of time, and you give him distance, like 10, 15 years. And he'd probably come to it like, yeah, that was a bad moment. But the love that he gave us was, or the time that he did give us in 2002, the Copa Americas, etc. Like that was probably a better time. So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying if you make it during his career, you have the baggage of what's going on then, which was he didn't end well at Barcelona. He went to Milan, and I think he won the Serie A in 2011, like the last one before Juve started their run. I think he was part of that team with Ibrahimovic and
probably like at Milan he wasn't anywhere near his best.
Well, no, of course. But the point is, now that we're in 2020 and not probably the late 2000s, I'm thinking that that's what 12 years. The people making the documentary wouldn't be the same. The people making the documentary would be people of our age, like 30s, 40s, who grew up watching him and idolizing him. Does that make sense?
I mean, I suppose, but they would still look at Brazil journalists, and they still want to get the Brazilian perspective.
I know, but I'm saying people from Brazil probably look at Ronaldinho through a better lens in 2020 than they do in 2008.
No, but then if you're telling the full story, just like they did with Zidane, you've got to tell the story of Grêmio, the story of Barcelona, the story of the World Cup, the story of the 06 World Cup, and what he did at Milan. Okay,
yeah, but the Zidane documentary that we watched, it was like, oh yeah, he headbutted somebody, but we still love him.
No, but they made a point to say that, remember the guy said in the doc, he let down a whole country, and what he did was very selfish, and then he did a very selfish act by headbutting the dude. So
yeah, but it ended in a way of like, but he was still one of the greats. This one is like, can he recapture the form?
No, see, that's what. See, I agree with you in the sense of the cap off and the ending would be one of the geniuses and so forth. That would have been the ending.
Yeah, like this one, it was he's a troubled genius who can maybe capture it again. If you make it today, it's just he was a genius.
But who flopped at the 06 World Cup? And did he he should have had like a longer peak for Barcelona, So
he was on top for 3 years.
But it should have been more.
Why? How? Why?
A guy that's good, who was that skilled, you'd think, okay, this guy is going to dominate football. And the things that people said, is what you knew. That's almost the interesting thing about Ronaldinho is the whole what if. Because again, Messi, you've been on top for 10 years, but Dino at his best did things that we've never seen before. So it's almost as if you can appreciate it more because it's happened for such a short period of time. But you assume no, because everything that people said in that doc, it's made sense that he was much more of a party goer. He liked partying, very sensitive, chose his games, and wasn't fully professional. And that is sort of like why people sort of like him. It's the same thing of Maradona, where he took drugs, he was a bit of an edgy guy and everything. So his character, which wasn't the so-called Lionel Messi perfect image, is why when he was on, he was more extra than a Messi or a Cristiano, who are much more disciplined professionals. So
no, see, Ronaldo and Messi have the benefit of like, I guess Ronaldo was the first, and then maybe Ronaldinho got this as well. But Messi and Cristiano took it to the next level in terms of like the branding and the marketing and the kind of mythology of the players, to where like they're micromanaged, it seems. Whereas Ronaldo and Ronaldinho, they still feel like they're real people. Messi and Ronaldo or Cristiano don't feel like real people to me. They feel just like brands, like Michael Jordan in a sense. Like he's not a real person. He's just kind of like a thing that's commodified. Right. So like Ronaldinho being out partying and enjoying Paris nightlife, that's a trap that any young 27-year-old person who's at the top of his game would fall into, unless you're super micromanaged by Nike handlers, which probably like Messi and Ronaldo are to an extent. Cristiano, I mean. But yeah, if you could you do me a favor and pull up the Wikipedia, because I'm quite curious about like, you know, his so-called peak.
So what do you want to see in the Wikipedia?
Just stats.
wait, what's that specifically? Like, what do you want to look up?
Just like, you know, goals, that kind of thing.
Wikipedia.
But I want people to be able to see them. T.I. calls out 50 Cent. Young Thug defends Drake. Hey. Wait a minute. What's happening?
What?
No, not those are the basic stats. Like scroll further down to like the good ones.
So what do you want to be specific?
Keep going. 3 point. I'll tell you the number. 6.1. 6.1. Yeah. The tables, bro. This is what Wikipedia merchants do.
Like Mourinho.
Yep. Okay, so let's take a peek at Barcelona, because he was there for what, 4 or 5 seasons?
Yeah, 5 seasons. So
see,
5.
now the 5th season I can understand, but they made it seem like after the 2006 World Cup, this dude just totally fell off a map. He didn't. He had a better season statistically than he did when they won the Champions League. It's just that they didn't win a trophy from it.
No, but that is, you see, there's a difference between stats and performance. So yeah, 21 goals is 21 goals. But what he did when he scored 9 goals or 15 goals was a lot crazier than what he did when he scored 21 goals, when he scored 8 goals, as opposed to the 9 goals here. So it is the performance. So maybe in one game, like a hat-trick, maybe a few penalties here and there. But in terms of what he was doing, the kinds of things he was playing, his productivity, his effectiveness on the pitch, it obviously will not to the same level. So we have to look beyond the numbers.
According to the documentary, that's what they made it seem like.
Oh no, but it is but that's still perfectly viable, because again, you can't judge something based off goals. You see, put it this way: if he was a striker, in a way, you're talking about 21 goals is 21 goals, but he was a midfielder and a particular kind of midfielder.
How was 21 goals from an attacking midfielder a bad season?
No. They didn't say it was bad. They say he was declining as a player.
How are you? No, that's no, clearly not.
What do you mean?
I'm saying you can't decline and get better statistically.
Your performance can be declining, but you can still post better statistics. Because again, that's what I'm saying. You have to look at the games. You can just say, oh, he was amazing. No, okay, no. Let's just look at what he did in those games.
No, obviously, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I don't know if you'll be able to come up with this. I'm not saying you're not telling the truth, but I would like another example of somebody who's increased statistically but declined on the pitch.
Cristiano performed better for Man United than he did at Real Madrid, but at Real Madrid he just scored more goals. Or what he was doing in terms of
dribbling, that's what he was asked to do.
Assist, and his effectiveness on the team was far more for Man United than it was for Real Madrid.
No.
How do you mean by no?
I mean no. I mean the
no. But see, that's so that's why it now comes back to subjective.
For an attacking player, the most effective thing you can do on the pitch is score a goal. That's period, point blank. That's the most effective thing you can do. Now, maybe you might say his influence over the course of 90 minutes was more in Manchester United than it was at Real Madrid. But if you add up the 400, 500, 600 goals he scored for Real Madrid, I think that more than makes up for the lack of dribbles and just on the ball things that he was doing at Manchester United. So I don't agree with the frame that you're giving. Now I'm not saying your opinion is invalid or anything like that, but yeah, I'm just I don't agree.
Oh, look. I mean, look. This there's no point in arguing. Like we just view it differently. So
I'm just saying it's weird. Like if he went from 2005, 2006 from like 17, and then we see like the 17 and 8, and obviously the 17 and 8 must mean injuries that you're not playing over 30, 35 games. So do we blame him for that? You know, because there must be context to why you only play 17 games in the season.
Yeah, no. But for me, as I think, look, it's different from how most people view it. Because most people would say, "Oh, 21 goals, though that's different." But I view it differently. So,
well, no, I'm just going by the video or by the documentary. They made it seem like he totally fell off a cliff after the World Cup.
They didn't say that. So they say it just that he obviously was disinterested and didn't play with the same kind of passion that he did during his peak years. Which makes sense. So they didn't say, "Oh, this guy was completely trash," and everything. They just said, "Oh, no, of course it was still good," but we didn't see the same Ronaldinho as we saw during those early years. Who was playing with his man in his place, was far more effective in games, was really influential over 90 minutes and all kind of stuff. So,
but by the same token, they were complaining that he wasn't that side of him, that he was being an entertainer and he wasn't being a footballer. So it's very interesting that some people look at it and they think, "Oh, we're not seeing the same kind of dribbly football fun Ronaldinho," but then at the same time, the same person, the same dribbling, fun, loving, smiling Ronaldinho that would then go to the nightclub. Like it's a problem that somehow left him. It's a contradiction from some of these opinions that were on the documentary.
No, basically, I can only go based off of living it through this time, and I could see his decline happening. Where he was still good, but I just knew that okay, this guy just isn't the same guy that I saw earlier on, and that was me living it through the time. So.
My only thing is, I don't think the decline starts after the World Cup. I think the decline starts like 2007, 2008ish. By the time I start watching most of his games, so I'll readily admit I don't think I watched more than 4 or 5 live Barcelona games from 2003 through 2006 or 7, just because it wasn't available. And we had like modem internet that you couldn't stream shit off. So yeah, like I really started watching football like 2005, 6, maybe 2004. I like Setanta Sports and all those kinds of things on like satellite TV. But yeah, man. So if could you scroll down to the Milan days? So was it 2000? Well, 2010 was obviously Inter. So 2011 he gets credit for that?
Well, I mean, it's 11 games he played, so.
See, now this is for me, that shows decline. Just going off the numbers. So, like, you had 0 goals and then you went back to Brazil. Something's up. That's like, whoa, okay, what happened? And then obviously you're now old. So, and how old was Ronaldinho in 2008 when he moved to Italy? How old was he? So 2008, and his birthday is 70 what?
His birthday.
Got to be in the 70s, right? 1980. That makes the math easy-ish. So 28? Wow. So in 2010, he was 30, and they didn't take him to the world.
Yeah.
He was, 30, and they didn't take him. That's meant to be your prime.
No. Your prime is 26, 27, 28, maybe 29, but 30 is past your prime. Your prime is 26, 27, 28, 29.
I would include like past 2010. Like I think no, you're right. For Ronaldinho, okay. Nowadays, I think your prime can be extended to like 30, 31. So like Lewandowski's still in his prime, even though he's 31. But he has a different level, we would presume, of professionalism over the course of his career that Ronaldinho had. So like I wouldn't say Cristiano's still in his prime, but you can tell that during his prime he took care of himself. Messi kind of sort of the same. But yeah. I didn't think he was that young. 1980. So 10 years older than me. Whew. Yeah. Damn. So right now is when he would, if he was born in 1990, like my life, this is the moment where he'd be falling off. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about the doc, man? If we had to grade it, as we do.
I mean, as a doc, I gave it like a C standard, like not amazing, but not crap. Just like, just sort of there.
Like a 6 out of 10?
Yeah, 6. Yeah, 6.5. Yeah.
Again, this is the thing with these kinds of documentaries where it's like last time with Zidane, this time with Ronaldinho, especially with Ronaldinho, maybe more than any other player ever. All you got to do is just play the clips, and it speaks for itself. So like that Dunga clip, which I think we rewound it like 3-4 times, like the clips.
No.
It's cheating.
As peak, the guy was, as I said again, like I respect Messi and Cristiano's consistency, but they didn't play the game like Ronaldinho did.
Yeah, it's cheating. So you have to grade it on like a weird kind of curve. Like, is the documentary good, or did they just use Ronaldinho clips? And does that make you think it's good? So I think I'm with you. I think it's a 6.
Yeah, it's a 6.
But my enjoyment of it was like an 8 up until the end, and then I was like, I don't like this. But then, maybe I have to understand that. Look, it was from that time, so
it could, because he was still active. So,
and it was definitely pre-2010. Otherwise, they would have said he didn't even make the World Cup squad. So, yeah. I don't know. Who do we want to watch next? There's like a bunch of them. Or do you want to keep doing this? If it would be a better question. Or do you want to just have a conversation about like other things? Maybe next week.
Well, no, I mean, we'll decide. I think maybe if we just try and mix it up. Maybe if we try and mix it up.
Because you know what we haven't talked about?
What?
Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a good thing.
We want to discuss that, because I think it's been a while since we've actually had like a discussion, because we've just been watching stuff.
Yeah, we haven't had a convo in a minute, so maybe next week we'll just do a convo and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
But yeah. Shout out to everybody.
Thanks, man, for recomendaciones.
Yep. I think it was Ibrahim again. So appreciate it, guys. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Peace, peace.
Peace, 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 peace.